Welcome everyone to week number 2 in Science 260. We've got a good week coming up. We're going to be talking about honesty in science, and credibility and biases, and how we remove biases in scientific investigations and that sort of thing. Before I move on, this is a picture that I took when I visited Scotland. I was standing in a boat that was rocking to and fro, and happened to catch this sea eagle that was bombarding the puffins and trying to make a meal out of one. It's very unusual to be able to get this close to a sea eagle because they usually soar way over the top of the cliffs. But I did, and that was very exciting. All right, so every week we will look back at the last week so that we can make connections between the topics that we're covering every week. So in week number 1, you figured out what STEM was: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And you thought about, hopefully, what you were interested in having to do with those topics. And a lot of you chose artificial intelligence, which is on everybody's minds these days because it is literally everywhere. So that was interesting. That's something that I'm interested in, and I was surprised that so many of you were interested in that. You found a research topic from the pages of Science News. That's actually a website. And you found topics that you were interested in, and so I'll be taking a look at those this week as I do the grading of your work. And by the end of this week, week number 2, you have to have solidified your particular topic. You definitely want to read my feedback to see if I agree with that being an appropriate topic that you have chosen. So we'll see. I might be communicating with you. And you found 5 sources that had to do with your proposed topic, and could be all different kinds of sources. We will do some of the evaluation of those sources this particular week. Okay, this week you have your textbook, and we've got some chapters assigned. Skim through chapter 2, and it's all about different ways of thinking about science. Skim through chapter 2. Chapter 8 is a really important one. It's all about honesty in science, examples of dishonesty, and boy, there are a whole bunch of these. And I want to say that scientists are human beings, and they have the same strengths and weaknesses as other human beings. Some of them want to be famous. Some of them want to take shortcuts. Some of them want to protect their reputations, etc., etc., etc. So honesty in science is very, very important. And because there's so many checks and balances in science, usually people are found out when there are things that are going on that are a little bit funky. So we're going to talk about examples of dishonesty in just a second, but I do want to mention that this is actually human nature. And pseudoscience, we're going to talk about examples of that. So a couple of examples of dishonesty, just from my personal experience being in graduate school and then doing postgraduate research. So one was, we had a research group under my advisor, and one of the women in our group was type A personality, just gung-ho. Well, her experiments were not working. And all of a sudden, she gets engaged and she needs to graduate. Her experiments start to work just so very quickly and just perfectly, and she's getting exact perfect results every single experiment that she does, and she can graduate, and she leaves and she goes and gets married. And all of us are thinking, how did she do that? Maybe she made up the data? Yeah, probably. Another example was that a friend of mine had written a huge grant proposal to be funded to do breast cancer research. She'd written the whole thing. She'd done you can't even imagine how much work goes into producing a grant proposal, because you have to do all the background research, you have to show what you've already done, you have to show how much you understand, you have to explain how you're doing the experiments, why you're doing the experiments, what you expect to find, etc., etc. So she wrote this huge grant proposal on breast cancer research, and she was turned down for the funding. Okay, that was a big disappointment to her. And then one of her colleagues, which had just recently been hired as an assistant professor and was on the tenure track, and she was not. He was on the tenure track, so there was a lot of pressure on him to get research funding. He submitted a breast cancer research proposal. And when my friend took a look at it, she said, "Janie, look at this." He had copied whole sections of her grant proposal, just copied and pasted what she had written into his proposal, and lo and behold, he was funded. Did he ever give her credit for any of that? No, he did not. Did he include her in the whole project? No, he did not. One of the most dishonest things I've ever seen in my life. He just stole her work, stole what she had written, gave her no credit, and didn't include her in the project, so she basically didn't get any benefit from this, and he did. So those are just two examples from when I was at Clemson in grad school and doing postgrad research. Pseudoscience, whoa boy, there's so many examples of this these days, so many examples. I'll give you one, okay? If you're interested in skincare, health, I mean, you have probably heard the word collagen, okay? Collagen. Collagen is a protein. It's an important part of your connective tissue in all regions of your body, including in the layers of your skin. It helps make you stretchy, helps make give you resilience in your tissues, etc. It's a type of protein. All right. So collagen is all out there now. You can buy collagen powder. You can slather collagen cream on your face. It is literally everywhere. You can probably spray it in your hair. I don't know. I don't know all the ways that you can use collagen. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Collagen is a protein. If you consume it as a powder, you're consuming it just like you do literally any other protein. Your digestive tract will take that collagen and break it apart into its amino acids that make up that particular protein, and then it builds your own proteins. It does not, your body does not take that collagen and then whoop, just stick it out there in your joints and your skin, etc. Nope. Your digestive tract breaks it down. What about slathering it on your skin? Because you have collagen in the layers of your skin, and that helps make it elastic and resilient and all that sort of thing. Collagen is a great big old protein. It's not going to be absorbed into the layers of your skin. It's just going to sit there on the surface of your skin. No, that's not going to work either. So it is pseudoscience, but when people hear, ooh, collagen, I need some collagen. That's perfectly fine if you just want to use it as a protein powder. That's fine. It does not go directly to your tissues. I'm telling you that right now. So you need to understand this science. And there's a lot of pseudoscience out there. I will just use this terminology, and then people will believe it and will buy it and use it. There's so much of that out there these days. One of my friends gets sucked into this so many times. She goes to some kind of a quack pharmacist who's been arrested, went to jail, etc. for his fraud. But anyway, she still goes to him. And he's got some electromagnetic chair that she goes and sits in a couple of times a month and spends hundreds and hundreds of dollars every month to go sit in this thing that is supposed to heal her. And she says to me, Janie, I know you don't believe in this. And I said, no, Martha, I really don't. I don't know why you keep doing this. It's so expensive, but she just keeps doing it. And there's literally no medical basis for what this dude is doing. And he's been outed as a fraud and even gone to jail for it. But she still falls for it. So there's all kind of pseudoscience out there. And we got to get rid of that, right? That's not part of science. Skim chapter 10. Chapter 10 is all about critical thinking, using your critical thinking skills in order to work through a problem, to think through a problem, like I do with the collagen, right? Collagen is just a protein. If you eat it, your body's going to break it down. That's because I also understand the digestive process, right? You have to use your critical thinking skills and evaluation of information. You have to evaluate, where did this come from? Is it credible? Is it reliable? Does it come from a credible, reliable source? That sort of thing. You're going to be doing that this week. Okay, then your 2 assignments this week. You have assignment 2-1 and 2-2. In 2-1, you are going to determine 3 of your sources' credibility. So you're going to choose 3 of your sources. Use the template for this assignment. It's a Word document. You just put your stuff into the different sections and follow the directions. You're going to use the SIFT method to do this evaluation. So you're going to stop and reflect. You're going to take a look at your source and the information there and really look at it and think about it, right? Investigate. Does this make sense? If you're looking at this collagen issue, you're going to investigate it. Is it going to do what everybody claims it's going to do? How could it do this? Find supporting evidence. I will tell you this right now. You will find no supporting evidence for all that collagen junk. Nope. It's just a protein. Trace claims. Look at the claims that everybody's making. But good grief, you can find collagen in literally everything now. I bet there are drinks with collagen in them. I bet there are. I haven't looked at that, but I bet there are. Trace the claims. What are the claims for the wonderful medicinal powers of collagen, as an example? So you're going to do this with your sources too. Assignment 2-2 is where you're going to write about the credibility of your sources. So it's really important to find out where the information is coming from. Isn't that true about anything any type of information that you're looking at these days? You have to look at the source. Where is this information coming from? Is this someone who is an authority in this? Do they have knowledge? Are they a research scientist? Is this a scientific study? Right? So you're looking at the credibility of your sources. You will also examine your personal biases, because we all have biases. And of course, I do too. Everybody does. And biases are really an important part of human nature, because once you have learned about a topic, then you're going to think a certain way, and this keeps you from having to learn things over and over and over and over and over again as you move through life. So that's the reason that we have biases. But we have to think about this so that we think about things correctly, and we evaluate everything based on the good information that we have. And then you're going to discuss how you can reduce bias. This is terribly important in science. You have to take out all the potential bias out of any study that you do, because you as a researcher bring bias. Your clients, subjects, patients all have biases, and they want to help you with your study, and so they want to give you the results that you want. This is the reason that we set up a lot of clinical trials and medical studies as double-blind studies. And double-blind means that neither the researcher nor the subject, patient, client, whoever it is, knows what type of treatment that person is getting. Is it the placebo? Is it the regular treatment? No one knows until the end of the study. When I did the COVID vaccine studies. I did two. I did the original vaccine from Pfizer. I was in that clinical trial, and I was also in the booster trial. And I didn't know which one I was getting either time. And neither did the researcher who was there at the facility. So that's kind of interesting, and that's a way to take out bias. So you're going to talk about how to do that too. All right, and then finally, you don't have any discussion board postings this week. The tip of the week this week is to break your assignments into manageable pieces. So if you have 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there to do some work, then break up your work that way. Think about what the best time of day for you is to do your work. I will tell you this. Now, a lot of people cannot do what I did, but when I was in grad school, I couldn't come home after working all day, after fixing supper, cleaning up the house, washing clothes, helping my son with his homework, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, doing all that. Last thing at night I wanted to do was my schoolwork. And so I would just go to bed, and then I would get up at either 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when the house was nice and quiet and nothing was stirring, and I would study and do my work. Now, a lot of people would not do that. They would stay up till midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning when their house is quiet and do their work. But that's what I found helped me, and I also broke up everything into manageable pieces. I would have my whole schedule set for a week because I would know when I had time. Sometimes it was during lunch. Sometimes I'd have a break between classes in my labs, and I would have time. And I'd go to the library and do my work. So figure out how to break up your work into manageable pieces, and also figure out the time of day that you can get your work done. I hope this helps you, and I hope that you have a wonderful week. Please just let me know, m.sigmon@snhu.edu. If you need anything, if you're struggling, if you have any trouble, please just let me know. I'm here to facilitate your learning, to help you through this course, and I am glad to do that. Just let me know. Have a great week.